Hello, it's Burgess Taylor and it's Coffee Chat Monday. And at first I was going to do this on a completely different topic, but seeing as I need to update the artist way, and the artist way is definitely about creativity, and I try to do a lot of the coffee chats about creativity and things that occur like resentment or self-doubt, living a creative life, different things. Week two for the artist way was about identity. It's about your sense of identity and finding, recovering, sort of. And when I very first did the artist way, I was trying to find myself again as an artist, not just a writer, or not just a mom or a grandmother or a wife, or my identity was very separate from the artist. I hadn't been an artist in a long time other than being a writer, and I had a lot of issues prior to about calling myself a writer. So when I delved into the artist way the first time, I was finding myself again. Julia calls part of this the going sane, and it does seem a bit like in the beginning you're kind of going crazy because you start becoming really protective about your creative time, and the more aware of your creative time, the more aware you become of other people, and um, you realize that some of the guilt that you have when you're being creative, that guilt where it's taking away from your time with your family, or your time doing household stuff, or your time that you would be spending doing other projects, then you have to kind of find a balance. You recover from wondering if maybe you are spending too much time being creative, or maybe all of your creativity is gone, maybe your success is gone, maybe you've been as good as you could be, and maybe all that's in the past and you don't have any left. Cameron says that this is really normal, and she says that she actually cautions people to don't let your self-doubt turn into self-sabotage. And I have been guilty of self-sabotage, but one of the ways that we can avoid self-sabotage, she talks about the poisonous playmates and the crazy makers. And we all have them, the friends who are actually blocked themselves. And when you start becoming more creative and productive as an artist, those people are going to come out of the woodworks to naysay. They're the naysayers. They're the people who, as soon as you start doing well, they start creating drama to put themselves in the middle, to put themselves as the center of attraction, to get the focus back on them. With the artist way, Cameron goes through a lot of different things that can help you. People can't force you to feel anyway. People can't force you to do anything. You can be aware of your boundaries and what they're doing, and put your boundaries up. You can recognize that someone is either using you, or they're criticizing you, they are a naysayer, they're feeding into your self-doubt. They're actually pushing that self-doubt. Misery loves company kind of thing. There are people who can do that, and they drive you crazy. So you have to make a conscious decision to stop reacting, because we're reacting to them, and they can't make you react any certain way. You have to let go of the anger or the resentment or the guilt or the doubt, so that you can be conscious of your own reactions. And that is actually really freeing. And you can be friends with these people still, because some of these people are going to be our family members, but you have to accept that some people are going to be like that, and maybe you avoid certain things, you put your boundaries up. So you have to think about what's really important to you. One of the biggest problems I've had is not taking things personal. If somebody doesn't like something, not taking that personal. If I do a piece of art and that's not somebody's cup of tea, It's not personal. My art is my own art. Their art is their own art. Because I'm not good at a certain thing, or because it's outside of my comfort zone, not thinking that, oh, I couldn't possibly do that, and instead trying it, getting outside of my comfort zone, being true and honest to with myself, being true to myself, being honest with myself. Hey, somebody told me something that was very important to me, and I went, oh, I had an aha moment. Mixed media doesn't have to be acrylics. Mixed media can be any kind of mediums that you mix. So mixed media could be watercolor and collage and pictures and text. It could be combining any one of those things. It could be adding some acrylic. It could be all different kinds of things. It doesn't have to be one certain type of thing. Another aha moment that I had recently was that I can do something, set my intentions, and create a page that is all about manifesting those intentions in a way that works for me. I can look at something, and I'm delving more and more into mixed media of a certain kind, combining watercolor with collage with pictures, delving outside of my comfort zones and trying different things. I on Patreon put a lot of stuff that you don't see on YouTube lately, because one, I've been doing the journal series, so flip throughs haven't really happened. Journal process, plan with me kind of things, because I don't have time to put all of that up on YouTube. I can't do a video every single day. But at the same time, if you want to see a lot of behind the scenes stuff and you want to see a lot of that, you could always subscribe to my Patreon page. I was hesitant to do Patreon at first. Now I absolutely love Patreon. I'm a patron of 2 people, and when things are better, I will become a patron of more people. I love supporting other artists and various um, artists of various means and ways and mediums, I should say. And it's funny because the more I think about it, I was taking things personally in the beginning, taking things personally. If somebody made fun of, if a troll disliked, gave me a thumbs down, if somebody made a comment, I was taking all of that personal. And you know what? My identity doesn't come from there. They don't have anything to do with who I am or what I am, how I am as a person or as an artist. I was taking things personally and allowing all of that to push the self-doubt, to increase the self-doubt, to keep that vicious cycle of self-doubt going. I was also allowing all of that to affect my sense of identity as far as being an artist goes. My writing has taken a bit of a bump in the road lately. It's taken a hit. It's The focus is off of the fiction projects and more into the nonfiction realm. And with so much going on in my personal life with family illness and Mr. Rockstar, I'm dealing with a lot. And I don't think that's I don't think that YouTube is a place for that really very much. But I do talk a little bit about it because it affects my anxiety. It affects my stress level. It affects depression. So I'm dealing with things and trying to be more creative as a therapy for the anxiety and the depression, to kind of keep my all of that in check. Art and writing and reading are my therapies, but I've also found that home projects are my therapies. Being busy, physically and mentally being busy. It's very hard when depression and anxiety are knocking at the door rampantly, and they're viciously knocking at the door, to have things happen and to not take them personally. But I realized my sense of who I am is very different than what it once was. And part of that is because of the artist way. Part of that's because I learned a lot about myself as an artist. But part of that is also because of my tribe. Because I have people in my tribe who are there for me. And I also, I, you have people who support you. And some people are going to be there for a season. Some people are going to be there long term. The people that are there long term are supporting you not necessarily because you're talented, or not necessarily because you do the same things they do, or you do it the same way that they do. They're supporting you because they believe in you. They're supporting you because they are happy to support you, because they believe in you, because whatever it is that you have to give gives them something. And maybe everybody doesn't do my kind of journaling. Maybe everybody doesn't do my kind of whatever. It's okay. There's no right way or wrong way to be creative as far as any of that goes. I think that the two people I support on Patreon are very different. Their styles are very different, but they've impacted me, and I've been inspired and motivated by them, even though how they do things is, on the whole, quite different than I do. Because I learn things from them, because they are different and they are true to themselves. That inspires and motivates me to be more true to myself, to not follow the pack, or to not follow what social media is what is big on social media at the time, to not follow the crowd, to be the black sheep in a field of white sheep. That's why I follow them. It gets me out of my comfort zone. It pushes me to try different things. And maybe I will or won't do more of this or that. But every time I learn something new, every time I listen, every time I pay attention to and I gather bits and pieces, I realize that it changes me for the better. Being creative is a bit lonely, because it's pretty much most creative pursuits are more solitary endeavors. It also gives us a way to connect with other creatives. Being connected is a good thing, but it also has that separateness. I mean, we are doing this by ourselves most of the time, unless you are in a workshop or in a class or something like that. You have to be okay with that bit of the loneliness, the solitude, but you also have to be open to the connections. And I've had to learn that sometimes those connections are temporary. Unfortunately, sometimes those connections lead us to another connection, to another connection, to another connection. And that's such a wonderful thing. Um, it's such a wonderful thing. So today, I kind of wanted to talk about all of those things. My sense of identity has changed from when I very first started YouTube. My sense of identity in the very beginning was becoming a writer. I hadn't realized the impact that kind of creative life, and it expanded my life in a way that I am very thankful for now, because I went from doing NaNoWriMo videos to finding the planning community and the journaling community, and that led me to journaling, to really not just because I was already journaling. I've been journaling since I was a little kid, since the mid 70s, but to expanding how I journaled, to going from doing diary style, scrapbooky style, smashbooky style journaling to adding art, to words and art, to combining words and art. And that is my real jam. Words are always going to be my jam. Art is definitely my jam. Combining the two, just, it's amazing what it does for me. And the more I try different things, the more I realize there's so much for me to learn. So my sense of identity is growing. It's a work in progress. Who I am, though, is a creative person. I will always be a creative person. I take some things too personally. I probably do. I'm a bit of a sensitive person, but I'm on the cusp of Cancer and Leo. So although I'm straightforward and blunt, I am a keeping it real kind of person, the inner feelings, the very deep down feelings, I don't really share very much. I'm not very open in that way. I don't allow myself to be really vulnerable in that way. But creating art has made me vulnerable in that way. I hadn't realized how vulnerable it had put me out there until recently. So my thing for today is there are always going to be the naysayers. There are always going to be the crazy makers. There are always going to be the poisonous playmates. There are always going to be those people who misery loves company. There are always going to be those people who are fickle, who go through the fads. There are always going to be the people who follow instead of leading are the people who stand on their own, the black sheep. And that's okay. We wouldn't want everybody to be exactly the same. We can learn so much from everybody. You can learn from people who are doing completely different things than you are doing just by participating, just by listening. You don't have to do what they do. If I watercolor, it's okay. You don't have to watercolor to learn from me. If you are doing mixed media and you're doing acrylic mixed media, I don't have to do acrylics to learn from you. I do add on occasion bits and pieces of acrylic. I am learning. I'm going to be making my own alcohol inks. That's on my to-do for the end of this month, the very beginning of next month. I'm going to go through all my markers that are old and I'm going to pull them out. And then I will probably go to Dollar General, to Dollar Tree, probably Dollar Tree, and get a few packs of markers as soon as my no spend is over, and get some little containers. I'm going to make my own alcohol inks because I have a whole pack of what is acetate paper, and I need to make alcohol inks to really use them because the permanent markers aren't working as well as I had hoped. That's okay. So I went on Pinterest and I found how to make alcohol inks, and that's going to be my next project because I want to add more tip ends. I want to do more things in my journal. I want to expand my horizons, get out of my comfort zone some. I've already been adding little bits and pieces. I've already been changing things up. And One Book July is right around the corner, y'all. And One Book July is go big or go home. And I am setting things up for One Book July. And next Friday, I may actually not wait until next Friday. I may wait until maybe the 28th, which is next Wednesday, not this Wednesday, but next Wednesday, or and show my setup for One Book July on YouTube. It will be up before that on Patreon, but the 30th is rather last minute. But it may end up being that because I have this Friday is going to be the journal series of where you journal, like air sketching or watercoloring, urban sketching, doing morning pages outside at a paint table or different things. I'm going to try to get, this is going to be hard for me because Mr. Rockstar is working nights all this week, so I'm going to have to do the footage for myself. That means setting up 2 cameras. I may end up doing it in my yard. I really wanted to go to the park and stuff, but I'm not sure if I'll be able to do that because carrying all that equipment, I have tendonitis and arthritis. And I don't know if I can carry 2 bags of tripods and all of that. I don't know if I can do all that. So we'll see. We'll see if I can get it done because I can take it out in the backyard in bits and pieces. I don't have to take it all at one time. Like I can take the camera and the tripods all in one full swoop and my bag of art stuff. I don't know. Maybe I'll film some in the car. Maybe I'll drive to the park and put the top down on the car and do it that way. That might be a good idea. I might be able to do it that way because I have the gorilla arm that's up there, and I could actually connect it to my visor, my rearview mirror. So I may end up doing that. I'm going to find a way. Hopefully I can get it all together. But that's it for today's coffee chat. Be true to who you are. Be honest with yourself. If you are a creative person, don't let other people's naysaying or other people's criticisms affect you. There are always going to be the naysayers out there. Be true to yourself. Thanks, y'all. Bye.